Good evening and welcome to Quizzy Monday. I'm not quite sure why it just stopped at a black square there, but welcome. I am going to get straight on with telling you who's on the show tonight. We have got a packed show and it's just got a little bit more packed. We have from Mastermind, we have all four contenders. We've got Martin, McCann, Rachael, Neiman-Wiseman, Sarah Trevarthen, Don Walker. Sarah might be a little bit late. So we will start with the University Challenge where we've got Lewis Sinclair, Ben Russell-Jones and Rishi Sundar. From there, Rishi, a late and very welcome addition. And Reading, we've got Michael Hutchinson and Sylvian Jesudoss, whose name I spelt wrong there. Sorry, Sylvian, my apologies. And so we are going to be talking tonight about Mastermind Semi-Final 5, about University Challenge Semi-Final 2. We will have Quizzer in a reasonably simple quiz with the chair of Quiz Wales, the Welsh Quiz Association, Gareth Aubrey. We will have Quiz Week, and at the end of the show, we will all try and select our champagne moment from what was a quite fantastic evening of TV quizzing. Now, don't forget that you can put comments or questions in the chat, and I can see that we've got a few people in there already, and I'm going to start bringing people on right now, and they will not be in any particular order, so let's just see. So Marty, Ben, Dom, Rachael, Rishi, Lewis, Sylvian, and Michael, and say we still have Sarah to come. So in answer to Gerard's question, good evening, who's here? Everyone. So 3, 6, somebody's trying to enter, but the studio is full. I'm getting a message. I'm going to have to remove our second thing, so bear with me. Can you just leave the stream, please? Just to let Sarah in, we have to. We might have to do without the presentation tonight. God, that would be terrible. Anyway, Catherine says, "Evening, Valerie. Good evening, Gerard. Claire Barrow. I'm here. Hello, everybody. Brendan, bravo, Reading, Hutchinson, and Ansley are the dream team." Name says, "Oh my God, Rishi's on." Congratulations, Reading. Commiserations to Dom, so close. So that should pave the way for Sarah to come in. Let me just tell Sarah she can come in. And right, yes, sorry, with that distraction out the way. Wow, what a night of quizzing. We will get on to Mastermind later, particularly as we don't have Sarah, but University Challenge. Oh, here we are. Here's Sarah. I'll pop her on. Hello, welcome, Sarah. And congratulations, Sarah. This is the most packed we've been for a Quizzy Monday, so this is going to be a little bit tricky. We'll start with University Challenge just because we come straight from that, and that looked like it was going to be every bit as tight as the brilliant Mastermind semi-final we saw earlier. Now, Ben, you were a little bit traumatized by your earlier semi-final. well, not semi-final, earlier match, weren't you? The one that was 5 points. How was it with this one? Did it feel like history going to repeat itself?
I don't know what it felt like. I was definitely a bit calmer than I was at the end of the manual match, that's for sure. But yeah, I think that just comes with a bit of experience, though. Like you get calm, you get used to the process as it goes on. But yeah, it wasn't so much up and down. It was really tight, and we knew it was going to be close. But yeah, it definitely felt a little bit more relaxed. Perhaps just having been on the set a couple of times more. It was a really good game. I really enjoyed watching the game.
Yeah, it was a really good game. Michael, I'll take advantage of you having a mouthful of drink to throw a question at you. You know, you lost to Imperial after looking kind of majestic through your run. When it got to the semi-final, you know, what was the mindset of the team going into that match?
Going into the last quarterfinal after I lost against Imperial, it was mostly just speed on the buzzer. That's what did us in against Imperial. They're so quick and just so well spread that going forward after that, we just felt, you know what, we just need to go for every buzz we can. Really, that's why there were kind of some wrong answers along the way, and against St. John's more so. I think it was a really lovely game to watch, to be honest, from both teams. It was really, really tight at the Edinburgh. You guys and us, we were just going neck and neck throughout. I think it was just towards the end when we kind of pulled away a little bit. But yeah, just really tight. There weren't that many wrong answers really, and barely any wrong interruptions, which is quite rare, really. So yeah, it was a fantastic display from both teams, I think.
Yeah, it was. Rishi, we've heard one captain say tactic was to get in fast on the buzzer. Did you have kind of any instructions for your team for this match that may play it differently, more aggressively?
I think that that tactic was generally our stance for the most of the tournament itself. I think we thought really statistically that if we get as many starters as we can possibly, on average, we should end up leading by the end of it. But normally what happens is if we're quite aggressive, sometimes it can put the others off, sometimes it isn't. This time that was definitely not the case, and it proved quite entertaining and wasn't great for the nerves either. But so I think perhaps tactically, I mean, I'm one to overanalyze these kinds of things, but that's fun. Maybe it wasn't perhaps the best approach from us. I'm not sure but that's something that you can't really know until you've played the match itself, and there isn't like you can't suddenly shift halfway through. So
yeah, and to be fair, you know, I think you got 2 out of the first 3 starters. Both Lewis got in on Gladstone and Oblate. So, you know, it didn't look like being a bad tactic straight off the bat. Lewis, that must have felt good, getting those buzzes in nice and early.
What, getting the Gladstone buzz in?
Yeah, Gladstone and Oblate, yeah.
It was very nice to just get that straight off the bat. And I think the Gladstone buzz was nice, as was Oblate. Doing medieval history at uni paid off. I think that's the only time in my life it will, but it paid off.
And Sylvian, you're on a team with Michael, who's one of the top performing players of the series, and Margaret Ownsley, who is just superb player, and the two of them work together. When you're in a match like that, you know, how much is it a temptation to almost kind of sit back and let them get on with it? And, you know, how much does it take for you to kind of chip in and make a contribution?
I think it depends on the questions, basically. So if say for example the revolution question, the current affairs question, Michael knows that I'm the person to go to, so he will ask me. So the questions, it depends on the questions. Michael knows who to go for with respect to the bonuses, and then we add specialist subjects. So that's how it is. I mean, if I don't know, for instance, I don't know about anything about poetry, so just don't give anything until if you don't know. Just stay back and then let them work the magic. It's like playing. I mean, I've already told that in one of the videos. It's like playing with Sachin Tendulkar and Rahul Dravid or Virat Kohli. So you just allow them to enjoy the. Do that thing with them, because those two topics. It's the same thing with Kira. Kira didn't get any of those questions that she's comfortable with, so she's specialist with. That's the thing. So.
And that is fundamentally the problem with University Challenge. If a starter doesn't come your way, there's nothing you can do about it. And if the bonuses in your strong area go to the other team, you sit there just cursing the bad luck.
A few times, Gareth. I know a few times. Michael knows how many times I was like, "Oh, come on, that's an Indian question. You would have got it." Yes, I know, but you can't do anything about it. Yeah. Ben,
I sensed there was one of those for you tonight.
It was for us, but it wasn't for me. It was for Rishi. It was the Keats bonuses, which Rishi would have absolutely loved. We haven't gone. Rishi's been quite unlucky this season on the content that he's got, because it hasn't been much for him, but he's still done really well with it, which shows a kind of a player he is, really. But yeah, I have a feeling Rishi would have dispatched the Keats bonuses quite quickly. It's his favourite poet.
That was quite sad.
The two teams, had you played each other kind of in the previously in like student tournaments or anything like that? Did you know anything about each other other than kind of what you'd heard on the UC grapevine?
The one thing I knew was that they had someone who was dumber on the other team, and that was in my head. And not really. There were rumors, but I was just like, there's someone else who's from not on the team. I need to pay attention to them.
We knew they were good, basically. We knew they were good. We knew they were good in the buzzer, and like good, just a good unit. So, it was going to be a hard game. It was going to be a hard game, no matter whether it was St. John's or Reading. So, at this stage of the tournament, it always is a hard game.
Yeah, we had a bit of an element of surprise because we didn't go to like Quiz Bowl stuff, which I've heard since is a uni thing, which I'd have loved to have done, but we didn't get around to taking part in all that. So we were kind of new to the scene. It's quite interesting kind of talking to the unis who have kind of got quizzing established and hearing what they do as part of their prep and stuff. It sounds really good. It sounds like there's a good establishment for university quizzing, which hopefully Reading now can grab hold of a little bit and join in a bit. We'll see. Yeah.
Catherine has asked, do UC Mastermind contestants who've been to uni find their study skills as students hold them in good stead for learning and retaining general knowledge? Or is it a completely different discipline that's open to anybody, really? Yeah.
I mean,
for me, no. For me, no. I'm purely memory. My study skills are quite lacking, and I'm looking to develop them in however many ways possible. So the answer to that is no. I'm purely a memory-based quizzer. I like learning as much as I can with things. My study is not very good.
I found I had sort of two different things. So the specialist subjects and the general knowledge that we approached in two different ways. So obviously, once you get to the second round of Mastermind, you've got to start learning something again straight away. So that was very much sort of flashcards and just repeat. It was interesting. I couldn't answer some of the questions in the specialist round that I would have been able, that I obviously could, sort of however many months ago it was. But the general knowledge, I find that doesn't work. It's got to be something, got to be able to handle on it and link it to something. It's got to
be organic.
Yeah.
No, that's fair enough. I say it was a good, it was a really good match. It was a level at halfway. Lewis, don't think I didn't notice you bopping away to the music round. You look like you're enjoying that one.
It was. I had two responses. I took the approach. I don't actually know who this is. It might be Madonna, but oh well. So I was just getting a little dance on. But then I've got to go into my brigade's HQ tomorrow and deal with senior officers who've watched this. So yeah, that'll be fun. But it'll be. Were you dancing? Yes, Gareth. But no, it was also the Habsburg, the Austria answer. It didn't make it in, but I sort of drummed the table, and yeah, as Rishi put it, I was drumming away. To be honest, I worked up quite a thirst during that match, but waited till the end. Yeah. But no, it was good.
I noticed in the music question, and there was some great teamwork on show tonight, but the Laurie Anderson answer, Michael, where you just good bit of dialogue between you and Margaret and whatever, you got your way there. That sort of iterative thing seems to work well for you.
It was just quite annoying because there was a phase where I just not stopped, but when you're University Challenge prepping, I kind of just stopped learning first names and just went for surnames, where that's all you need. And you'll see when I give answers, I'll only give surnames just on the off cuff that you get the first name wrong. And the only thing coming to my mind was the first name, which was just really frustrating. But that isn't something you don't go into University Challenge learning obscure 80s songs. So that was just something from prior. Some way.
I really liked your Oldenburg answer. That was a really good answer. That was.
Oh yeah. That was the last one. Yeah. Lewis, you're going to say embarrassing stuff. You want to try being a maths teacher after getting a few questions wrong in calculus, like I did against St. John's. That didn't go down great at school.
We must be thankful.
I mean, I had a it was actually after the after the last match. I was walking to I was doing a station visit, and I walk into the station. I'm just waiting for the lift. It's 9 a.m. The new watchers come on. They're clearing the yard. I'm just there. One of the guys, he's carrying a hose reel. He just looks over at me and it's, "You on telly last night?" "Yes, I was." "Can you tell him, yeah?" "Yes, I was." "Oh yeah." And just clanging coming from the back, and it's yeah, it is what it is.
I guess question to all of you then: have you had many of those recognised in strange places moments where people go, "Are you the person off the telly?" Rachael, you've been on telly quite a lot. That must have happened to you.
Yeah, quite a lot, more or less. It happens. People will say, "Oh, you're on University Challenge," and that was 13 years ago now. So people don't always remember the most recent stuff. Sometimes they remember you from something you were on years ago. Yeah, I think the hair doesn't. The hair makes me stick out a bit. I need to perhaps go a bit more incognito, but yeah, it does happen quite often. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody else had one of those moments where they've been recognised somewhere strange?
Ben certainly has.
Go on, Ben.
Cheers, Rishi. Well, there we are. I've been putting the Ben number, Rishi, so I've got to say it. So we go to a pub quiz in Edinburgh on Tuesdays and Thursdays. On the Thursday, it's a place called the Southsider. And I've had a girl come up to me recently and say, "Were you on University Challenge?" And I say yes. And then she asked me, "Can you autograph my arm?" So that's the wildest experience we've had from University Challenge. However, there has been a couple of pictures in the same pub as well. So people who go, they just seem to recognize me.
The excellent thing is, because I think all of the promotional pictures have me with long hair, that I managed to escape.
I got recognised on Tinder, which was a very strange experience. So someone just sent that in a message, and I was sort of, yes, I do know Christopher Isherwood novels. I felt my credibility gradually evaporate.
Brilliant. And Sarah, you've been on quite a few things recently. Have you been kind of spied or spotted?
Not really. I suppose because sort of as the lockdown's been easing, most of the places I've been to have been quizzes. So I've been trying to meet all the quizzes that I've known all online. So the people sort of know who I am anyway. So I haven't really been to a lot of other places yet. But, yeah.
Okay. Back to UC, and there were some great buzzes. But there was one set of bonuses that Michael you remarked on, the picture round of the theatre shows. He said something along the lines of, "I've never seen questions like this, but this is great." What was it about those pictures that you particularly liked? Did it? Yeah. Well, let you say.
just haven't seen a lot like that, to be honest, particularly in that genre as well. So yeah, I was quite happy to have a little go at them. I don't watch many plays. I'm the classic quiz researcher who just reads synopsises and kind of playwrights what they've written. But yeah, it was nice to kind of use a little bit of that, because having not watched any of it, you're kind of just going off summaries and things. And I kind of remembered Beckett's, where she's like buried up to their waist, aren't they? And then Ionesco's rhinoceros is like quite a famous one, which yeah, that was quite nice. Mentioning it before, and then it came up in the next one, which was quite good. But yeah, just in general, quite like that set really. And I think Lillian was quite happy that I said that, because she was in the green room and kind of mentioned afterwards I think she had set them, so that was good. Good for her.
that was the bonus set that I wanted. That one.
Oh, yes.
Bonus set. Yeah, that was the one that I wanted. But the problem was that with the picture starter, I looked down and he buzzed, and he said like answer in English or Italian. So I was like, oh, it's going to be the Pirandello one. And I thought that like a second after you buzz is the problem. So my reaction time is so slow. But yeah, I was very sad not to get those. Actually, I do like a good absurd play.
We heard last week that I think Imperial went from like the quarter-final to the semi-final in very little time between them, maybe the same day. Was it the same for you lot, that you were effectively going kind of bouncing from match to match?
That was our first of the day.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
soon to be only of the day.
Yeah.
But I think there was a couple of matches played on before us, though.
I'm just trying to think.
On that day, I think there were one before us, and it was there were two, obviously, because
it was the last quarterfinal and the previous semi that was before us. I think.
Yeah.
I think we played. I don't know if really.
That's the second of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what we can say, but we've got one left. We're okay to say that now? Yeah, we play 3 in a day. I don't know if we're allowed to say that, but we are free kind of on the bounce. By the end, I'm pretty buzzed on coffee, I can tell you that.
And that's pretty much what Imperial was saying last week. They were maxed out on coffee, and none of them could really eat on that final day. The kind of, I guess, the tension and the adrenaline was such. Was that the same for you lot? With that kind of just being in the zone, being full of adrenaline, you just kind of that carried you through?
The weird thing about that last game for us is I was about as switched on as I was in the first match, because the first match I did not drink a Red Bull for the game, and then I made it my ritual after the Bristol game. Well, because I did it before the Bristol game, to just down a Red Bull an hour before it, and then see what happened. So I was quite jittery in all of those matches, and in our last match, I was like, oh, I feel okay, but my reaction time wasn't there. So it's again what it might have been, but I mean, start anyway. So judging by what came up tonight, you just did that much sharper than us every time.
Favorite buzzes from those of you who got buzzes in, or favorite answers on the night? Rishi, Cassini, Huygens, and Bung. Bung was nicely worked out.
It was one of those ones where you just kind of, it was pick it up as it go, and the word bung was there, and I was like, is that it took me a while I said it, and then and then there was a pause. I was like, is that a real word or not? And I was kind of confused. But oh man, there were some traumatic buzzes there though. They cut one out that was pretty traumatic.
Yeah.
Which one was that?
There was one, I think there was a question, I think it was what 4 digits are never at the end of numbers.
Oh yeah.
And no, I'm not going. That was quite bad. Because I think the answers would just be 4, 6, 8, and 0. But I forgot that 0 I forgot that 0 was a number.
4, 6, 8, 2. Oh no!
Funny things happen. Michael, you had a good number of buzzes. What was your favourite one?
Got to be Gladstone at the beginning. I think Liverpool, Gladstone being born in Liverpool was part of a question that won it for a team a couple of years before. So that was very much there for the taking, and it was just great. It's good to get the first blood kind of thing in this sort of environment. So yeah, I'm happy for that. Best buzzer of the night.
There you go,
I think it was a good buzz, but I mean, thank you for the suggestion that we knew it from the previous season, but that was just process of elimination. We weren't watching previous matches, and we weren't question spotting. So that was, I liked it as a buzz, and it was just first principles. But I certainly didn't see it coming, which is what you seem to suggest.
It is quite fun though, because in a good friend, Robbie Campbell-Hewson, a friend of the Quiz Society and claims to be the founder, were actually when he won the year that Edinburgh won, actually buzzed off the famous people born in Liverpool question, which mentioned Gladstone as one of those people.
Oh, so that was your uni as well?
Yeah, that was. I mean, I think it was. Must be like 3 years ago now. But it was cute.
3 years ago, because it was season 48, and this is 51. Right?
Yeah. John Violet's put in Buck Mulligan, great buzz. That was one of yours, Michael. Ben, you had Wings of the Dove and picked up Sennacherib.
I like Wings of the Dove, I suppose, named novel by Henry James. I thought it was the Wings of the Dove, and then he said bird, so I snap buzzed on it. My favorite buzz of the night was 1904, because I still do not know how Michael worked at it. Maybe you just know the when Man and Butterfly premiered, which is just boss, or roundabout when the treaty was, which is the previous clue, which I can't remember what it was. But I love that buzz. It's a great buzz.
Yeah, nice. Excellent. Sylvian, you didn't get a buzz tonight, but either your kind of favorite contribution of the night.
I think I mean, my favorite buzz was Margaret's Madonna, basically. So because I was thinking of going for it, but I wouldn't have got the thing to go for it, but she went for it. It's just sort of like, and I was so surprised that it was Madonna. It was like it was a turning point for the team. To be honest, we just loosened up after that. It's just like after that we went for Michael went for a few more buses. It was just that moment was very funny, and at the same time we didn't actually expect that particular bus. So that was my favorite moment, to be honest.
So it's 85-85. And then, as you say, Reading just pulled away. They got 2 on the bounce. Edinburgh pulled one back, and then Reading got another one. And then pretty much time was just running out. How aware were you all? I know people have talked about after the second picture round, you're into the kind of the final furlong, but how aware were you of time running out in those last couple of bonus sets?
I won't lie that I thought the match wasn't as close as it was until we watched it just now. I think I think it changes for other people, but I was mildly cognizant of the score, but I also remember feeling from the Emmanuel match thinking that we were reasonably far behind numbers wise and made that up. And this wasn't too different, but it's just really kind of you can see the numbers and you can, but without a kind of solid level of the time and the idea of the number of questions, it feels kind of meaningless to try and pass in the moment.
Yeah.
I did feel time was running up though. It does feel like time was running out when I know you're only 30 points down and there's only one complete set if you get all 25. So you're only that much behind, but you still feel that time's running out. It's not the best feeling in the world.
From the other side of the equation, then, from Reading's side of things, did you think just one more buzz will take us over the line? Were you in that kind of mindset?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, just anything at that point would kind of take it over. But I think you are kind of aware of the score, and it is kind of one of those. When you have that little bit of a lead at that point, you don't really want to buzz in and get it wrong. Just as Ben said there, the swing can easily be 25. So, you know, it's just about being careful at that point of the night as well. But yeah, it is one of those you do kind of struggle to take track of where you are, to be honest. Yeah, you're just kind of looking for that next buzz, really.
Yeah.
Looking for those buzzwords.
Any final thoughts from the UC crew? I guess Ben, Lewis, Rishi, how do you sum up your University Challenge experience? What's it kind of meant for you?
It was brilliant. I mean, do you guys mind if I say something before?
Yeah,
Yeah.
go on.
Yeah, you go ahead.
It was brilliant. You know, I was on there as a token postgrad, and it was nice. You know, I thought I was passing through Edinburgh, but I wasn't, and I got to represent my team, my city, my university. And when we were the only Scottish university left in there, so, yeah, it was nice. And I was privileged to do that with some guys who I'm now privileged to call good mates. And above all, regardless of, you know, I went from a high-rise exercise on Thursday to filming UC on the Friday. That was a change. But regardless of how we did that, I know that we played our best. We played well and we played fairly. We didn't run the clock down. This isn't suggesting so. You know, we didn't run the clock down. We didn't faff about. We didn't call for water breaks or anything. We played our best. We played fair. And we took everyone as they came. And that, for me, is the pride. You know, we didn't faff about. And, well, we played the full 30 minutes and everything. Didn't stop for breaks. Didn't do anything like that. And that was
we did. Yeah.
I think, yeah, kept in the spirit of it.
Yeah. Ben, Rishi, how about you?
I mean, I think to summarize, there was a question in that match which I would have got had I not been skipping a lecture to be there. And but the fact that I don't regret mildly making the end of my semester a nightmare by having missed a reasonable amount of my course, I actually really enjoyed the experience and thought it was good. I mean, is enough proof that it was a good thing. I have to say, it was a little bit like a fever dream in that it was just 3 weekends and you kind of just you turn up, you press a button for a few sets of half an hour, and then you're done. And then people start talking about it 6 months later.
Yeah.
But nah, it was great, and I've grown up watching the show, so it's kind of nice to see yourself as being part of the general fabric of University Challenge and being like, it's just cute, isn't
it? Brilliant. And Ben, finally for you.
Keep it short and sweet. I remember watching University Challenge when I was like 12 and I had no idea what was going on. So to be a part of that one day just blows my mind. I'm so glad I did it.
Yeah,
fantastic. It's one of the best things I've ever done.
Well, we're so grateful for you guys coming on and joining us, not just today, but Lewis, you've been twice. Ben, you've been a few times, so it's been great having you on. Comment here, I think maybe Ennis Carson. Fantastic work, guys. Keeping the Edinburgh banner flying high. You did yourselves proud. You did your university proud. And fantastic performance. Reading, we will be seeing you in the final next week against Imperial. We really look forward to seeing what happens in that final. It should be a brilliant rematch between two absolutely fantastic teams. So best of retrospective good luck to you. I don't know what the result is. So it's all going to be very, very exciting finding out next week. Any final thoughts from Michael or Sylvian before we move on?
I'm good. You okay, Sylvian?
Okay. All right. In which case, we are going to take a 3-minute gap for Quizzer in a reasonably simple quiz. We've got Gareth Aubrey playing this. Sit back and enjoy this. When we come back, we will be talking about the Mastermind semi-final. Welcome to Quizzer and a Reasonably Simple Quiz, and this week we have got the head honcho of Welsh quizzing. It's Gareth Aubrey. Welcome, Gareth.
Welcome, Gareth. Thank you.
It's a veritable Gareth fest now. Which set of questions would you like, set A or set B?
I will go set A, please.
Okay, set A, your answers are Bill, Log, Crane. Bill, Log, Crane. Crane, Log, Bill. Happy with that?
Yep.
The time will start when the first question comes up, and I will move on as soon as you give an answer, and I won't tell you whether you're right or wrong. So, are you happy to get going?
Indeed, let's fire away.
Okay, here we go. A bûche de Noël is a Christmas cake in the shape of what?
Log.
Helen McCrory played Elizabeth I in which 2015 film created by... That appears to have stopped. Let's try again. Welcome to Quizzer and a Reasonably Simple Quiz, and this week we have got the head honcho of Welsh quizzing. It's Gareth Aubrey. Welcome, Gareth.
Welcome, Gareth. Thank you.
It's a veritable... Okay, I'm assuming the glitch was visible to all of you. So we will put that out during the course of the week. So anybody who's desperate to see how Gareth gets on, you'll be able to see that probably about Wednesday. So apologies for that. I don't know whether that's my laptop overheating or StreamYard having a funny 5 minutes. Anyway, Mastermind, we were treated to a match that probably was a little bit too close for comfort for some of you. We had Marty kicking us off, Sarah, then Dom, then Rachael. One of the highest quality matches that we've seen. Before we talk about that, just want to say to Sarah, congratulations, but also commiserations on your Counterpoint Grand Final. That was a fantastic performance in there. You've been having one hell of a year so far.
I'm everywhere at the moment, it seems. So, yeah.
You really are. But it's been good to see. So let's have a look. Martin, you did the Vuelta in your first round, and then you did the Irish and Spanish Civil War. What's the connection between you and Spain?
Well, just it's more by accident than design, to be honest. It's usually you put in your selections at the very start when you apply, and basically it's just a couple of them seem to have a Spanish theme. Not helped by the fact that I speak French and I speak Irish, but I don't actually speak Spanish. So for a lot of the times, the very first time I was actually saying a lot of those words out loud was actually on screen. So that only struck me as I was walking during the first round, as I was walking from the chair to the black seats, and realised I probably have to say words I haven't actually said out loud before, but it is what it is. So it's more or less just a combination of a lot of my different interests come together. It just seemed to be that the common theme was Spain.
That is one of the Quizzic's curses, and I'm sure other people can kind of relate to the pronouncing a word that you've never actually heard before. I remember being in front of a group of 60 Grand Prix quizzers and saying Kiribati, to which, of course, the quizzers, not being pedants at all, shouted back as one, Kiribati. So, it is the thing. But, you demonstrated the knowledge, and 11 out of 13 on the Irish and Spanish Civil War. A very nicely defined subject as well, because actually on the website it was just saying Spanish Civil War. Yeah. But Irish and the Spanish Civil War was very, contained it much more discreetly as a subject.
That was a thought. I thought it's a lot targeted. Plus, it means you're bringing in your experience of Irish history as well as my knowledge around Spanish Civil War, and it allowed me to focus a wee bit more on what the questions probably were going to be. And I think that's why I think, to be honest, I don't know. I've never really set that many quizzes at that level, but I'm guessing quiz setters may welcome something a wee bit more focused like that, because it means they can focus when they're setting the questions rather than having to cover, try and get a balance over quite a large range of stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, well, it was a very good performance. 11 out of 13 put you in a good position, and then Sarah comes along. Now, Sarah had been the highest scoring player in the first round of the four of you. How much were you, Martin, Dom, Rachael, aware of how well Sarah had done previously?
This was recorded in September, so we hadn't actually seen.
No.
So we hadn't actually seen anything. We didn't know how well anyone had done.
Yeah. So
I know Sarah's a great quizzer, so having so you always.
Yeah. No,
yeah,
absolutely.
I always thought like for this stage, if you're in the second round, everyone's going to be half decent. Like the first round is a bit more okay, you don't really know, but second round you kind of go into it thinking, yeah, everyone must be okay to get this far, and they can be good.
Yeah. Sarah, did you knew you'd done really well. How did that kind of change your mindset going into the semi-final, or was it no, this is a new game, new round, that doesn't count for anything?
I was a lot more nervous the second time, strangely. I don't know why that was, but yeah, I went into it feeling a lot more nervous, even though I thought I knew my specialist subject quite well. I don't know, maybe the first round it was just something sort of quite new, and I thought, oh, this is quite exciting to be on this. And actually you get to the semi-final, you think, oh, this is actually quite serious now. So maybe.
And what was it about pulp that made you'd done Rocky Horror in the first round, you stuck with a kind of a pop culture thing, pulp. What was it about pulp that you thought this is a good, because they've been around a long time. That's not the smallest subject. No,
it's not. I mean, I wanted to do a music subject. I did want to do the Divine Comedy, but that didn't fly. So I thought, well, which other bands do I like? Am I interested in? So I had a bit of a brainstorm and just sent some potential subjects, and that was the one that they chose. And then realised just how much Pulp had recorded. But no, it's a really interesting story, which I think makes it easier to learn, even if there is more of it. If it is a good tale, it makes it stick.
Yeah, and you got 13 out of 14. You just slipped up on My Legendary Girlfriend. Kicking yourself over that one?
Yeah, I made a bit of a schoolgirl error on that one, really, because it's a song which apparently it was every time they performed it, the lyrics were different. So I didn't pay too much attention to the ones that had been recorded, whereas really that was the one that's obviously going to draw the question setters. So yeah, shot myself in the foot with that.
But 13 out of 14, really good kind of marker, as I put it down in Twitter. And then Dom, you had to follow that. So Brian Clough, is there a kind of a football loyalty reason why you went for him, or just an interesting subject?
Bit of both. I've always found him a very interesting character, and I'd read a few books on him years ago, and watched documentaries, Damned United, all of that kind of stuff. So I was always interested in him. And football loyalty, no, I'm a Tottenham fan, so not so much. But my mum and her side of the family are all Derby fans, so maybe a bit came from there actually. So yeah, and in my first round I chose John Clare. So for both of them I did, Life of a Bloke, which was my tactic, because I thought, well, a biography is a bit easier to learn than a whole load of films or a whole load of books. So that was my tactic for both rounds, and it kind of worked. I was kicking myself on one of the Brian Clough ones. On one of the questions I got one wrong. The other one I wouldn't have got if I was revising for a decade. It was just not something I would have thought to have even revised. And the question set do a really good job of doing a good mix of kind of nice ease you in type questions, but also really fiendish ones. And being able to kind of plot those in your questions. So, yeah.
So, yeah, 12 for you, 12 out of 14. So, at this point, it looks like it's going to be a very, very tight match. And then we come to Rachael, who, let's say you've been on Mastermind a few times before, Rachael.
Yes.
But nonetheless, you still got to put the work in. And Harry Potter novels is a monstrously big subject.
They are quite long. I came to them a bit late. I only read them for the first time a few years ago. It was during a slightly difficult time, and I thought I'd like to read something fun and a bit escapist. And they always come up at quizzes as well. So I thought, that'll be fun. I didn't realize I was going to love them as much as I did. I think I was expecting to look. I'm a bit embarrassed because they are children's books. I realise that. But there's a lot going on in them, and they're very well written.
I mean, they get more mature as Harry gets older, don't they? As the books progress.
And the complex issues and things. I think I'll tell myself that anyway. You enjoy what you enjoy, though.
Yeah, and
but I didn't.
Go on. Sorry, Rachel.
I didn't think it wasn't one of my first choices of subject, especially because I didn't think they'd let me do it because so many other people have done it. But after a lot of my other music subjects got turned down, and then even my radio comedies, which I always do, none of them. The restaurant team didn't seem so keen on some of my comedy suggestions this time. So in desperation, I sort of said, well, what about Harry Potter? And they seemed really keen on it. So, yeah, what happened?
Well, again, it was a good choice, 12 out of 13, which meant that Martin can consider yourself quite unfortunate. 11 on a specialist subject in this series very often would be the highest score. And then two people on 12, Dom and Rachael and Sarah on 13. So, knowing that you'd scored well, Martin, were you kind of what was your mindset with the general knowledge?
It was primarily just okay. I've done what I've came to do. Really, I just thought general knowledge is basically in the lap of the gods. So you just go in and really see what's there. So I went in. Now I must admit I was a bit distracted because if you actually are quite close on the screen tonight, you see my glasses actually steaming up. So that was a bit of a distraction. But generally, no, I think but I was very much aware that everyone else was really on top of their game that day, and so I was kind of coming in okay here. Just have to see the best I can do, and I did. Even though there's been one question in particular that's had me waking up in a cold sweats in September.
What's that then?
The mittens answer. Basically, it just. But anyway, it's just one of those ones where you're not expecting a question of that type of question to come at you. But anyway, so that was, it was what it was. It's that one. I'm probably going to hear about it at work tomorrow, but sure, it is what it is. I was the one sitting in the chair. They weren't. So. And
that chair does weird things to you. The pressure of the lights, the camera, the day, the whole event. You've got to try and deal with that. You're 11 out of 17. Did you feel all right about that?
No, I think there was a couple of like the first round as well. Watching it back, I just realized a couple of sitters I really missed, and again, there's a few there that I really should have picked off again. But which I think a problem, there's other ones there as well that just were outside my zone. Like I don't watch that much soccer like that, so the Italian soccer. Although the fact I was glad I was able to mention at least one Italian goalkeeper that I knew, but that kind of gives you an idea of my vintage of when I last seen a football match, But so that
Well, I mean, 22 again for this series, more than reasonable score. In fact, it was the kind of almost like the average, I think, for the qualifiers through to the semi-finals. It was the point at which I think high-scoring losers would have kind of completed their kind of run had there been a high-scoring losers repechage. Dom, you were next. You had a very clear no-pass strategy, or at least that's how it seemed to me.
Oh yeah. That's going through my head. Subconsciously the whole time, don't say pass. And there was the what was it, the garbage in, garbage out question. That was where I kind of had a mild panic and was thinking I was going to say it, and then managed to just splutter something out that wasn't pass and got away with it. But I'm always thinking you've got to not say that, because it can just be the difference between winning and losing, and you could literally say any other word but that. So why wouldn't you? Yeah.
Yeah. And again, a good general knowledge round, but and you kind of push the total out to 23, which again is in the sort of zone of where it can be a winning score. How did you feel at that point when you sat back down in the contestants area?
I felt it was a 2 or 3 short at least. Yeah, I kind of just measure it against, again, the first round. I got 24, so I kind of thought, well, I need to do better than that in this round. So I was a bit disappointed not to do that. And a bit like Marty, I was watching it back thinking, how didn't I get that one and that one? There was a couple that sort of kicking myself about, but you know, that's just the way it goes on the day. And yeah, you just do your best you can with how you're feeling at that moment.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that put you in the lead, and then Rachael comes up. Rachael, your round, I guess, was a little bit unusual in that you asked for a repeat. So you weren't necessarily going for speed; you were going for precision. Or again, that's how it came across. Was that your tactic? Just nail them and move on.
I have to say, I don't know what it was about this semi-final, but I happened to. This is probably one of my worst ever general knowledge performances on Master. I got a question wrong. I made the cardinal mistake that you always tell people not to make when you're sat at home. I got a question wrong early on, and I was so busy kicking myself about that question that I really lost focus. I admit, I was so upset by the combination of that Drake and Hemsworth question that I don't know. I wasn't listening properly. So I know you're not supposed to do that, but it's really hard when you get yourself into that spiral of kicking yourself over the last question. I don't think I ever really came back from that. And I know you always tell yourself you shouldn't do that. You should just move on, stop thinking about the last question and think about the next one. But I think it's just the combination of those two in quick succession. I just couldn't come back from it, and I'm still annoyed about it because my mind wasn't on the rest of the round. It really wasn't. So I have to admit.
And Drake has been the go-to answer for Canadian musicians for quite some time, which was disappointing.
I know a little bit about Drake though, and I never heard of either of those albums. And I think it was the fact they described him as a singer and songwriter,
right,
and not a rapper. And that sort of led me a little bit astray. And they didn't mention his most recent album, and just I don't know, all that stuff made me think it's not Drake they want, is it? So yeah.
Well,
I'm not a big Drake fan, but I do know I know a bit about him. I know some of his music.
Yeah, I mean, it was unfortunate. You went for Wilson's rather than Hemsworth's, which again,
I heard Luke again and thought, oh,
yeah.
Just didn't listen to the rest of the question because I was so hung up on the previous one. I know you actually tell everyone not to do it when that you always have to think about the next question and not the previous one. But it's easier said than done when you get trapped in your mind,
Yeah, and particularly when you get a run where you're not getting the answers correct, and there's almost a sense of urgency to try and pull it back. Yeah, it's difficult, but you got 10. You ended up with 22, which again, good score, tying with Marty, fantastic. And Sarah, coming to you had the lead going into the second round. You needed, and now my maths has let me down. 11, something like that. I can't remember.
11 to win, yeah.
11 to win. Oh, I can't do maths. I'd be rubbish on those questions on UC. Again, how would you been watching the other opponents' rounds? Were you kind of measuring yourself against them while you were sat there watching them?
Yeah, I mean, you sort of count how many of the other people's questions you got, and I really felt for Rachael because I just see that what she described was happening, and I just really felt for her there. Everybody was doing really, really well, but I thought I could probably do it, and I think I started off quite well, and then sort of ground to a halt in the second half.
Yeah, you got 4, missed 2, got another 4, missed 1, and then 3 X's at the kind of, as you say, kind of you just nicked that last one to take it into a tie break.
But watching them back again, the ones I got wrong, I wouldn't have got them now. It was just a run of topics that I just don't know about. So Netflix shows and history of science, and the only one that I was kicking myself was the Alistair Cook one, because I was thinking, it's a cricket name. It's a cricket name, and I just couldn't pull it. And I'm sure Dom won't want to hear this, but I didn't know the poem either, and it was a complete guess.
Oh, Dom, when you're watching Sarah, when you're counting up on your fingers as she was going along, seeing whether she was going to beat you or not.
I was at the start, and then you did so well at the start, Sarah, like you said, that I thought this is a foregone conclusion. So about halfway through, I stopped counting, and then when you went on that run, I suddenly tried to pick up where I was counting again, and had no idea. I find it quite hard to concentrate and keep count. I really don't want to do it. Really, I kind of like to be surprised at the end and see how it goes.
Well, it ended up a tie. Not the first tie we've had recently. And it is a bit of a nightmare, a tie for a place in the grand final. Sarah, you went first. How did you know how well you'd done after those 5 questions?
I knew I had 3 of them. The first one, the Ricketts, the Marie Kondo, and the Elvis Costello. The darts one was a 50-50. I had no idea if I got that right or not. And the Italian one, I had absolutely no idea. So I knew I'd got 3, possibly 4.
And Dom, you're sat there waiting outside the studio for your chance. Was there any kind of sense of kicking yourself at any point over things missed that you thought, if I'd have just zigged rather than zagged, I wouldn't have been in this situation?
Certainly after the show, but at that point I felt very lucky actually, because I felt Sarah was gonna get past my score, that to kind of have a second bite of the cherry when I wasn't expecting it. I was quite relieved and looking forward to a tiebreak at that point. Yeah, it was only later when you think, oh, actually, if I'd got that right, then I wouldn't have been in a tiebreak, and then so on and so on. But no, it was exciting. Like I quite liked that moment actually, because you're doing something a little bit unusual, and you're leaving the studio for a moment, which again feels very odd when you're kind of in that cocoon environment. So yeah, I enjoyed it actually. Yeah.
And again, for you, did you know how well you'd done after your 5 questions?
I mean, I only knew that I'd got the darts one and Elvis Costello, and the Marie Kondo. I wasn't confident I'd got that right, and you could probably tell that. Well, I got it wrong, so so I didn't get it right.
You're really unlucky with that one, I thought.
Really get the bar on that with Condi.
Yeah, I was in my head. I was like piecing her name together, going like that, and so the fact that I managed to get something that was almost right, I was quite proud of myself. So I wasn't feeling too regretful about that one. But yeah, the other 2 was a bit of an instinct guess and kind of hoping for it. And I didn't take much time. Like, I don't know if you did, Sarah. I didn't take much notice of the fact that we had more time to kind of sit and think about the answers. But for me, I just kind of thought, I like momentum, and I just want to go through it. And the more I sit and think about it, the worse it's going to get. I just like to kind of go with my instinct and hope that it's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I did the same thing. The only one I thought about a little bit was the Italian one, just so I was trying to think of a vaguely sensible sounding guess. But yeah, I've found that I think it's better quite often to trust your instinct. I've been in other quizzes where I've thought of the right answer straight away, and then you talk yourself out. Whereas I find quite good an educated guess. So if a name pops into my head, it's usually best just to say it like Innisfree. It was that when the title of the poem came up, that word popped into my head. So I thought, well, that's as good as anything. We'll go with that. And yeah, I think in the tiebreak again, it was, yeah, I know the answer to this. I'll just say that.
Yeah, it is. People always say, go with your first guess. And I think certainly when you don't know it, it's a wise move. Again, I kicked myself. I ended up in a semi-final tiebreak. And one of the questions in my general knowledge was, what's that painting? Is it Mr. and Mrs. So-and-so and Percy? And it was like, what animal is Percy?
Clark and Percy.
Yeah. And I thought cat. And I thought, oh no, go for dog. And it's like, if I'd just gone with my first instinct, I'd have been in the final. I didn't. I kind of double thought myself on a question I didn't know the answer to, and it just, it costs you, and you do kick yourself still over things like that. But you don't need to, Sarah, because you made it through to the final. Fantastic performance. Probably on paper you were the favourite for the semi-final because of your first round score, but your performance again was really, really good in the semi-final. Can we ask what subject you'll be doing in the final?
Yes, I'm moving away from the pop culture. I will be doing Barbara Hepworth, the sculptor.
Very good.
There's a bit of a Cornish connection. My parent, I'm from Cornwall, hence the surname. But my dad lives in St Ives, and I was always aware of her work. So it seemed like an interesting one to do. Actually, during the course of the research, I found out that she lived in a house at the bottom of my dad's garden, just over the fence, for 15 years. Which, yeah, no idea.
Wonderful. Well, we look forward to seeing that in probably 2 weeks ish time. There is a rumor. There is a rumor that it might be on Bank Holiday weekend, but it's coming up soon anyway, no matter what. I'll ask a question to Marty, Dom, and Rachael that I asked to the University Challenge players. What is this experience? What's this what is this mastermind experience done for you? How did you come out of it feeling, Marty?
Well, after the first show, it was just relief that I'd put myself up for something and done something. And actually, then it's actually made even in relation to work. At my workplace, I haven't been there. Well, I only started my work the job a few months before lockdown come in, so obviously we haven't had a good chance. So actually, it's been a good opportunity for people in my work to know who I am, and it's been quite a bonding thing as well. And also even then. My mum and dad's my hometown, Richie, which I haven't lived in 20 years. Suddenly, now your mum and dad, they're getting recognised. It's not me getting recognised, it's them. They're getting recognised in the town, and I'm getting going. Brilliant. So I think it was just a simple fact that I've stood up and I've done something I've always wanted to do, and basically, I'm asked why I wanted to go on a quiz. It's just because. It's that guilt sitting at home shouting at people on screen when they're answering. You're going. So I think unless I've done that myself, I can't really sit here in all good conscience and shout at other people. Yeah. So basically, having done that and just basically gone on and something that I saw do. Now some people are saying Mastermind's a bit of a high level to go in at as your first ever TV quiz, but sure, why not?
Well, there are lots of people out there who talk a good game, but all four of you played a good game this series, winning it, getting to semi-finals, doing really well in the semi-finals. So I think mission accomplished there, Marty. Well done. Dom, how about you?
Yeah, I loved the whole experience, really. The challenge of having a specialist subject to revise and the pain and joy that comes with that. And it's because Mastermind's such an iconic show. It's when you're actually walking onto the set, you're walking onto the chair, you're feeling that spotlight. All of that is a very unique experience, and I really kind of relished those moments where you do that. So it was a top to bottom positive experience from me. Yeah, definitely.
And Rachael, this was not your first time doing Mastermind, but how was it for you this time round?
I enjoyed doing it. It was a long time coming because I was supposed to be going on in 2020, and then obviously COVID happened, and because I was supposed to be shielding, although they were still filming the series, obviously their insurance wouldn't cover me to travel because I was classed as clinically extremely vulnerable, so I had to give up my place that year, but they promised me it the next year, so that was fine. But by then I had to redo my specialist subjects because I was supposed to be doing Jane Austen, and someone else did the subject the year they gave the questions to someone else in the series I was supposed to be on, so I had to come up with some new subjects. So it was a bit of a long time in the making. I was ready to. No, I really enjoyed it. It was interesting because I've never done it in Belfast before. They were a lovely team. I was disappointed with just because my semi-final general knowledge went so wrong. I've never had that experience. I've usually been quite calm in in the chair before, so and that was a bit frustrating. But no, I really enjoyed it. It was lovely to meet everyone, and I had a lovely time. And most importantly, it was my husband got to make his mastermind debut. My lovely husband, who is very, very patient. He's not a quizzer, but he puts up with. He's a very good pop music quizzer, but he doesn't want to get sucked into the competitive world of quizzing. But he did agree. He walked me to the chair, so I'm glad he debut. That was lovely.
Are we going to see? Well, I guess all three of you. Are we going to see you again in the black chair? Do you think?
I'm sure I'll give it to them.
Marty kind of shaking his head. Dom.
Well, I suppose the temptation for me is recorded 35 minutes down the road for me. So, so it's kind of
it's convenience. Dom, how about you?
Probably not, but you know, that could change. I didn't think I would ever apply Scum Mastermind in the first place. A few years ago, I wasn't thinking about it. So, you know, people change.
Yeah. And Rachael, I'm kind of assuming you'll be back.
I'm sure I'll give it another go. But my main priority at the moment is we want to get on the hit list. That's what Adam and I are in training at the moment for the hit list. We started listening to the chart show every week, and you know we're getting up on our very, very modern stuff. So you know, that's a brilliant quiz. That's our focus at the moment.
Fantastic. Sarah, Claire has said. Because of the tie break, there was no time for a post-match interview. Did they do one on the day? Did they make you do all that chat, Sarah?
No, they didn't. They didn't. They just said that there's going to be no time for the broadcast. So, yeah, so they didn't do it that time.
Okay. Well, congratulations, Sarah. We look forward to seeing you in the final. Congratulations, everybody else, for a really good series, a good run that you put together. We are now going to, assume the tech works, just very quickly break for quiz week, and I'm going to pop everybody back into the waiting area. And when we come back, I'll ask you all for your champagne moment of the night. So see you all in a few minutes. Okay, so last week's Quizzer of the Week was Frankie Fanco, who beat Sarah in that brilliant counterpoint final. Well done to Frankie. Frankie also made her debut on Round Britain Quiz today as one of the panelists from the Midlands. So brilliant, a brilliant week or so for Frankie. And nobody would begrudge her that. She is one of the loveliest people in quiz. So congratulations to Frankie. Second was Greg Fanu of Pop Culture Challenge, I think, in USA. And third was Bob DeCoe for the Pop Culture Challenge in the UK. So well done to Bob. Well done to all three of those. Team of the week was Quiz Machine Kills Fascists, who won OQL Division 1. Second was Bletchington Nomads, who I think won Division 3 of OQL, but a couple of other things. Third was Imperial College for their win last week on University Challenge. Don't forget, you can nominate anybody for Quizzer or Team of the Week for a performance in a competition over the course of a season or an individual match at tinyurl.com/ATQ nominations. Nominations close for next week's nominations at 5 o'clock next Monday. The winner of What is the Question for Mercury was If Byatt is Arsenic, Lewis is Cesium, Bates is Helium, James is Palladium, Delderfield is Rutherfordium, and Elliot is Tennessine. What is Wells? That was by Phil Reynolds. Congratulations to him. The current question in need of an current answer in need of a question is Lush, and you can vote for the shortlist at tinyurl.com/WITQ Lush. Now, coming up on Thursday, we are going to have a live stream, a Tier 1 final preview of the Pop Culture Challenge, where we will have Lewis Jones in his third final. We will have Dave Gregson, Bob DeCoe, and Jenny Ryan. So join us at Thursday at 9 o'clock for that interview/chat about the Pop Culture Challenge. And don't forget to like and subscribe if you like what we do and you want to help more people find us. Click like on our videos and subscribe, and that would be tremendous. So I think that is it for that. So I will now just run you through some of the news. So last week in Quiz League London, I was talking on Quiz Week about the fact that there could be more twists and turns in the Division 1 race, and so it turned out. All sorts went into the final week at the top of the table, but all they could get from their match against Hornets Rest was a close defeat bonus, which meant Grey Monks in second were in a position to capitalise. And Edmund Dickinson of Amoebas, unfortunately for Grey Monks, got the final question of the quiz correct to secure a tie for the Amoebas, and unfortunately a tie for Grey Monks. Well, it took them ahead of all sorts, but on a points calculation basis. So they were leading the way, which left Pericardium in third, the unlikeliest of the three to win the title, with an opportunity to take the title if they won their match and also got a roundhouse. Well, they got the roundhouse in round 3 after 5 rounds. They were a point down, but they ended up inspired by a brilliant Ian Toms performance, a 5-point victors, and a full house for Ian Toms, and they were the unlikeliest league title winners in living memory. That really a lot of things had to go their way. David Stainer, their captain, put it as a 5% chance. Well, that 5% chance came in. They are the Division 1 champions of QLL for the first time in their history. They get a nomination for their title win. Ian Toms gets a nomination for his full house in the most kind of dramatic of circumstances. Division 2 champions were Misfits, Division 3 champions Banana Splits, Division 4 champions Sublime Objects. The Ashman Trophy winner for the highest 2-point average was David Stainer. He gets a nomination, and the Young Player Award goes to Graham Abbott, a nomination for him. Now, Mimir's Well had their final at the weekend, and due to problems with the recording, it was played, but the final is not online yet. So if you don't want to know the result, then mute your sound now, and I'll wave when it's safe to put the sound back on. So Scott Blish of America led going into the final round. He says he left some answers on the table, and it was Pat Gibson who came out on top with Scott Blish second. So Pat Gibson takes a nomination for winning another Mimir's Well title. And you can now turn your sound back on. But that will be up at some point on YouTube. Mimir's Well will post about that when it's up. In Online Quiz League, there were 2 full houses in the Cup this week, Sarah Trevarthen and Paul Sinha. So Sarah gets a nomination. She would also have got a nomination for Mastermind, but she gets one anyway for that achievement. Paul Sinha gets a nomination too. Team of the Week nomination goes to Banana Splits, who overturned a 21-point starting deficit to win by a point. In OQL USA, there were 2 full houses in the final week of the season. Patrick Friel and Victoria Gross, they get nominations, and Neutral Milf Hotel secured another Division 1 title, so they get a nomination. You'd like to think there are signs that next season it will be closer, but across the entirety of OQL USA, they averaged at least 10 points per game more than all but 2 teams, so they remain the team to beat. In the Pop Culture Challenge, there are no nominees this week, just anticipation of the final between Bob Decode, Dave Gregson, Lewis Jones, and Jenny Ryan, which we will be chatting to them about on Thursday. In Pop Solos in the USA, one man was head and shoulders above the rest. That was Chris Miller, who powered his way to the final with 15 out of 15 on his own questions. In the Asian Quiz League, American Super Team 120 Days of Sodor, featuring 2 newly minted chasers in Brandon Blackwell and Victoria Gross, climbed back to the top of the table, comfortably winning 40-30 against ZEF. Aging Bulls, who had previously been top, fell to a comprehensive defeat against Matunga. That match featured 2 of the Fundesliga Tier 1 finalists in the respective seat 4s of the teams. That's Vinu Sanjay and Ujwal Deb. Issa Schultz, the super nerd from Chase Australia, played his game from the UK, having joined the UK Chasers for Beat the Chasers. His team, the Syndicate, seemed to be suffering from jet lag as they fell to their 3rd consecutive defeat, 24-41, at the head of non-alignment movement. They weren't helped by some unfortunate topic choices, and Aardvarks had a comfortable win, making it 3 wins in a trot after 3 losses. The most exciting match of the round was Zero Gravitas versus Remembrance of Things Fast, which ended 39-39. And a little daylight is opening up at the top, but it remains a very tight league. Thanks to Caleb Liu from the Asian Quiz League for his roundup. Now, the Curtis Cup was played this week. That's a competition for players of Tea Time Trivia, and it was won by the North. They won it in the annual North versus South match. Michael McPartland won the individual quiz at the Tea Time Trivia weekend, captained the North team who won the Curtis Cup and finished second in the highest individual scorers. So the North and Michael McPartland get nominations. Ashton Davis was second top scorer. 3rd highest scorer was Andrew Fanko. So congratulations to the North and Michael McPartland. In Quiz Bowl, Oxford won the Spring Novice Tournament of the weekend. The top player was Alex Radcliffe at Durham University with an average of 90.5 points per game. Oxford and Alex both get nominations. And there's a new competition coming out from the people behind Fundesliga. It's called Flames, which stands for Food, Fashion, Film, Literature, Arts, Music, Entertainment, and Sports. It's a visual mimir. You can sign up now, and the competition starts on the 11th of April. So, a recap of the nominations. If we just click on one more. The nominees are Graham Abbott, Patrick Friel, Pat Gibson, Victoria Gross, Michael McPartland, Chris Miller, Alex Radcliffe, Paul Sinharth, David Stainer, Ian Tom, Sarah Trevarthen, and for Team of the Week, Banana Splits, Neutral Milk Hotel, Oxford Pericardium, and the North. You can vote at tinyurl.com/QW28mar, and voting is open till Friday evening. That is it from this week's Quiz Week. So I will now return to our normal programming and welcome back Marty, Ben, Dom, Rachael, Sylvian, Sarah, Lewis, and I think we lost Michael.
We lost Michael. Here to go.
Oh, hang on. Yeah, sorry. Yes, see a private chat message from him. So, looking at tonight's quizzing, Mastermind and University Challenge, you can pick any moment from any of the shows. Could be about you, could be something you did, could be something somebody else did. What was your champagne moment of the night? We'll start with Marty.
I think actually more of the fact that it was great to actually be seeing a tie break going on, but actually not having to be part of it, But it was, my first round I went through, it was basically on, no passes. But this one is actually great to be in part such a great competition. Just watching a tie break happen in real time.
Okay, fantastic. Ben.
So I have two that come to mind. One, based on previous conversation, won't seem to be much, but to me it is. The Marie Kondo answer, because I listened to that question, had no idea, and said like Kim Woodburn. So that was interesting for me for two reasons. One, because I learned something new, and I thought it was a really good answer. And two, because I probably need that book, because tidiness is something that's not a particularly trait that I have. And secondly, probably Margaret Townsley's reaction to getting Madonna right. That was really good. She's like, I have no idea how I just got that, but good stuff. Yeah.
That was lovely. Dom, how about you?
I only saw a bit of University Challenge, but I like listening to Kid Creole and the Coconuts. So probably that. I like it when pop culture seeps into University Challenge and it lingers there for a little bit.
Yeah, that was great. Lewis.
Campaign moment of the night, Austria. That was last buzz of the season for me. Technically, because I was back in work the next day, the last thing I ever did as a student, and yeah. My inner Habsburgist was very happy with that.
Oh, yes, I remember you in the Habsburgs, yes. Well done, Lewis.
Ich bin Kaisertreu, das ist mein Lieblingspunkt by now.
I'll nod and pretend I understood that, but yes. Yeah, well done, Lewis. Sarah.
For me, I must admit, I haven't seen all of University Challenge yet, but there was a couple of answers in there, which a couple of the questions I managed to get from the research I've done. I said earlier about learning threes because they've got to be linked to something else. And it just made me happy that things are actually sticking in my head. So the maids, the Genet question, the costumes for the Rocky Horror Show were stolen from a production of The Maids by Genet. And the Geometry of Fear one, which came up during Barbara Heckler. So that, on a personal note, that made me very happy that things are sticking. But just being part of such a close and great semi-final, I think
yeah, it was tremendous. Sylvian.
Two for me from Mastermind. It was the tiebreakers. I really loved it because. And when Dom answered the arthritis for rickets, I was like, okay, that's gone. That's the moment I know Sarah won it because I knew the answers for 3 or 4 of them, 4 out of 5. And I didn't know the Italy one. So I was like, okay, yeah, Sarah's got it in the bag, the rickets one. So that would be the moment. And of course, from definitely from the University Challenge, it's Margaret's reaction to Madonna. I was surprised too. So it was so much fun. I mean, sitting there, it was so much fun. It was so much fun. So yeah, for sure.
That was nice. Yeah, Rachael.
Well, again, watching the tiebreak was very exciting, and it was just such a high standard of gameplay, you know, and just watching them both having, because they both did so well in that. I would have really struggled. I wouldn't have remembered Ricondo's name, and I wouldn't have known definitely wouldn't have known the Italian one. So yeah, it was that both did brilliant, and I definitely looking forward to cheering Sarah on in the final. It was just good to witness it. That's one of the nice things. Even if you don't win yourself, you get to watch some amazing quizzing going on, which is always exciting. And I enjoyed I always enjoy it on University Challenge when there's pop music, because I know absolutely nothing about classical music, so I'm always relieved that it's a pop music round. At least I can join in with recognising that, as opposed to playing a bit of a classical music piece that all sound the same to me. So.
I just want to add one thing, Gareth.
Yeah,
for all the classical music practice that we add for the entire show, we just got only one question in classical music in the entire show. So I mean, it was so good this time. I was like, we got funk, we got I think we got only one classical music question in the last quarterfinal. So.
Dear. Well, you never know what's going to come up, do you? And that's the joy of it. For me, I don't know. I mean, I love the tie break. It's a bit like penalty shootouts in football. I love them when it's not my team playing. When it's my team, it's the most nerve-wracking, horrible thing in the world. But when it's somebody else, fantastic entertainment. So I did enjoy that. I did also like that theatre picture round, because I think there were clues in there that you could kind of put bits of knowledge together to guess it. You didn't have to have seen that production, and I liked that. I thought that was very cleverly done. So but in general, for me, it was two brilliant matches. There were I've got to do maths again, 12 brilliant contestants across the two shows. It's just quiz played at a really high standard, and it was just really enjoyable. It's it's mouthwatering now thinking about the final next week of University Challenge and the final of Mastermind in a couple of weeks' time. And I know we've got a high-quality Mastermind semi-final coming next week. So we are finishing Quizzy Mondays on a high. I think by the time we finish, we'll have done 39 episodes. I will be entirely due a break because it takes a lot out of you getting all these things set up. And we will be asking for people's feedback. So viewers and participants alike, we'll welcome your views on Quiz Monday and what we should do, shouldn't do, how we can go about things going forward. So look out for that. Don't forget to vote for Quizzer of the Week and Quiz Team of the Week at tinyurl.com/QW 28mar for Quiz of the Week, Quiz Team of the Week, and for What is the Question at tinyurl.com/WITQ Lush. And we'll put both of those links in the description below. So get your votes in for those. And don't forget to join us on Thursday if you want to hear 4 great pop culture quizzes talking about the Pop Culture Challenge Grand Final. We will be live on the channel. If you are subscribed, you'll get a notification of that when it goes live. Until next week, I just want to say thank you very much to Marty, Dom, Sarah, Rachael, to Ben and Lewis, Rishi, Sylvian and Michael for all joining us. It's been great having you. It's not always easy when we got loads of people trying to give everybody airtime, but you've all been fantastic and really enjoyed having you. And one last thing, look out for Quizzer and a reasonably simple quiz, which we will put out, and it will work when we put it out as a standalone video. And we've got Gareth this week and then one more episode of that to come. So look out for that. Until next week, thank you very much, everybody, and we will see you again soon. Goodbye.